Hey everybody, welcome back to the Creepy Cascadia podcast. I am Sammy, one of your hosts, and I'm joined by my stunningly handsome co-host slash husband, Adam. Adam,
Yeah,
how
you're
you?
just saying that because I got a haircut and a beard trim.
I sexually harass you every week on this show, so you know that's not true. But you do look very dapper with your new haircut and your beard trim.
Yeah,
I can see your mouth; it's way more expressive. Or at least I can see now that you're more expressive. Whereas before
I can't hide anymore.
I could not see before because your mustache covered your mouth, and so now all I see is lips. And I'm
Yeah,
like, ooh, he's pursing his lips. He's mad. He's irritated. I feel like I've asked you so many times, are you mad? What's going on? What's? Your mustache isn't hiding your face, so I see more of it now.
my normal mode is mouth closed. I feel like I
Yeah, but
don't.
the way you move it is different.
Okay,
I can tell.
yeah.
Your mouth says,
What's that Outcast song? I love the way you move.
I like the way you
There you
move. Doo-doo. There's a terrible rendition.
go. You're gonna want to cut that.
Yeah. How are you doing today, my love?
Doing okay.
Yeah,
Doing okay.
yeah,
It's weekend is over.
yep,
I hate thinking about work upcoming,
yep.
but I got to, at some point think about work.
Yeah,
They gotta pay me for some reason.
I know. You gotta. We have to pay for our lavish lifestyle. We have to
Yeah.
fund our lavish
Yeah,
lifestyle.
we have to fund our lavish lifestyle. There you go.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
How else can we treat ourselves?
And our cats to all the temptations they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Temptations brand name.
Yeah. No, no off brands for these cats. Temptations only.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, they go fucking nuts for those.
Yeah.
I just can shake the bag down. Like, if Jax is laying on our bed downstairs, I can be upstairs in the living room, shake the bag, and he comes a running. Like, I can hear his feet hit the floor in the bedroom, up the stairs. Yeah.
He's not fleet footed on that one. He's not
No, he's moving. He's
soft
hauling
footed.
ass to get those treats.
It's funny because Winnie does not really eat them. Like you can throw a few and she'll just like stare at them.
She eventually will eat them, but she
Yeah.
just doesn't. She's not super food motivated. Jackson, on the other hand, is pretty
Yeah.
food motivated.
I think she's waiting for like Jax to come up and eat to show that they're safe or something.
Yeah,
Like, a
after
little
the
food
whole
tester.
like, after the whole, when we had to drug him after his teeth thing, she just does not want to eat treats anymore until he eats a couple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a real thing.
It could be. We always joke about her being kind of dumb, but I think she's pretty smart actually. She's just naughty.
She clocked her head on the wood table again today. Like her and Jax were fighting. And like he went to bite her and she whipped her head back and it was like thunk. And I'm like I was like, this cat.
This fucking cat.
But at the same time she jumped up on the couch next to me while you were, I think, setting up for the podcast or showering. And I tried to snap a picture, but as soon as I pulled out my camera and tried to position myself that I could get both of us in the shot, she's like, oh, you're trying to take a picture? I'm out.
She always does that. It's hard to
Yeah.
get cute pictures of her because she knows.
Yeah.
Like she's super aware of us, you know?
Yeah.
Like when I try to get pictures of her and Jax laying together in the chair,
Yeah.
as soon as I like pick up my phone, she's lifting her head like, what?
So I think we mentioned our possum friend last episode.
We
right?
did. We did.
Have we talked about our newest friend
Nope.
that we
That we caught. We didn't catch, but we have a new friend. His name's Ricky Raccoon.
Yeah.
And he's super fucking cute. And I want to catch him, but everybody keeps telling me he's going to give our cats rabies, so I can't.
Yeah, we don't really want to catch him because he's definitely like an adult raccoon.
Yeah. But he got them little hands that he uses to pick up. It's like the cutest fucking thing ever. He would get into the little cat food bowl and like grab with his little hands.
Yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't eating with his mouth like a dog or the cats do. He
Nope.
would literally reach in, grab it with his hands,
They look like little
pull it
peoples.
out, and then start eating.
So damn cute, you guys.
And he was wary of the live trap that we have too.
Mhm.
Like even though it was open, we had it open on the so it wasn't set. We're just trying to fatten up the kitten that we're trying to catch.
Yep.
And instead, we're feeding possums and we're feeding raccoons. We have yet to see
The kitten again.
the cat eat from the bowl anymore.
Yep. I did see that older fat cat come around. I don't think that one's homeless. I think it's just wandering the neighborhood,
Yeah,
getting its bites where it can.
that's fair too.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, Jax used to do that apparently.
Yeah,
He would go into other people's houses and take naps on them while they were sleeping.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's allowed.
Yeah,
It's allowed.
it's fine. We're all family here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some video. Though.
Mhm.
The raccoon was scared of us. The possum gave 0 fucks.
0 fucks were given by that dude.
Yeah. Wait, was it the possum we were talking about naming Herb? Or what were we saying the name Herb and oregano was?
Because the guy in the Darren O'Neall, his alias was Herb.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah. Yes, his alias. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
You could probably cut that. I was trying to remember. I wondered if we had named the possum.
Yeah, so, well, we hope everyone had a great week. Summer's almost here. Graduation's coming up. We got some camping coming up. Some family trips coming up. Pretty excited for the summer. If you can't tell by my monotone delivery of that news.
Yeah. So yeah, in my mind, summer has always been Memorial Day to Labor Day. That is
Okay.
when the public pool in Brookings
Ah.
would be open.
Well, that's so funny.
So that was summer.
Okay, so that's funny because I have here. So instead of a morbid question today, I want to lighten it up with a fun question before we start. When you were a kid, what was the one thing you looked forward to during summer break besides the pool opening?
Yeah, I mean, what I like most about summer.
Yeah, like, I mean, you liked school as a kid, right? Like, you enjoyed
Yeah.
school?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh my God, I finally get a break from this prison.
Yeah. I mean, so summer was awesome. Summer was like freedom, do whatever
Yeah.
you want.
Sleep in, stay up late.
Yeah. But like I grew up in a fairly small town that like most of my friends from school, they lived in Brookings, the main town. I lived in Aurora.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I was like 7 miles away. We had our neighborhood friends, and like, maybe during the summer we'd get like you could get like all the kids together to like play sports, I enjoyed baseball. Baseball was fun. Summer.
Like, what
So
screams summer to you?
yeah,
There's probably a lot of things, but
like you said, yeah, swimming lessons. So we had our public pool, talking about our public pool, they had a you would buy a patch. It was like a summer pass.
oh, okay.
And it was like you had to sew it on your swimming shorts.
Mm.
I think maybe you could pin it too, but it was supposed to be like fairly permanently attached.
Right, so you couldn't share it with other people.
Yes, you couldn't share it with other people.
Although if you had the same size friends, you guys could just swap some swimming shorts.
Yeah. So I did not like swimming lessons were okay up to a point.
Okay.
Cause like I didn't want to open my eyes underwater.
Yeah, I don't like doing that either.
Yeah, it was like it's still such like a weird sensation. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like it was interesting. Like I want to say like 3rd or 4th grade, you had to learn how to do like the front crawl, like the whatever Olympics. I think it's called the freestyle. It's basically like swimming forward,
Mm-hmm.
and to keep an eye on where you're at. Like you're supposed to open your eyes underwater and make sure you're staying on course.
Give me some goggles, bruh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I think I failed that like swimming lesson. like I stalled out there
Okay.
because yeah, the first time I went, I didn't open my eyes, but I was doing all the breathing. Like I was doing the breathing correctly. I was doing the stroke correctly. Well, maybe not so correctly.
Stroke it.
Maybe not so correctly because I did a 90-degree turn and like ran into the wall of the swimming pool.
You're supposed to be going starboard or whatever.
I was supposed to be going straight, and I took a hard left turn into the pool wall.
Whoops.
Yeah, so that happened. And Yeah, and I did not get any better
Mm.
because they also wouldn't let you like. So I would swim. I can swim, but I keep my head out of the water,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I can put my head down in the water for a little bit of time and then pop it out, make sure I'm still on track, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't consider myself a bad swimmer,
Mm-hmm.
but I still don't like to open my eyes underwater, right?
See, I never had swimming lessons because our pool was closed until I was an adult. So like we didn't, unless you would
Mm,
drive to Aberdeen, which was like
it's a
a half an
ways.
hour. The YMCA over there was quite a ways, so it was like a 45-minute drive. And like my parents both worked, and
Yeah.
they weren't driving us, taking us time off to drive us over to Aberdeen. Plus, neither one of my sisters are big into the water like I am. I was the only one that was a little fish that loved being in the water.
Yeah.
So I just kind of figured out how to swim,
Okay.
But I don't know how to do any of the like. I know how to like swim, but I don't know how to do like the fancy like, you know, butterfly. I mean, I do, but not.
Yeah.
I'm not classically trained in the water sports of swimming.
Yeah. The butterfly, the brushstroke, the
Yeah.
backstroke, and
Yeah.
then freestyle. I mean, if you watch the Olympics, those are like the main.
I'm sure I look just like those people when I'm swimming.
Yeah.
As I take a hard left into the pool.
Yeah.
The side of the pool.
You're doing the Andre the Giant, like, I only doggy paddle.
I do doggy paddle a lot because it's just, I like to doggy paddle.
Yeah.
Because I like to keep my head above water,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doggy paddle isn't bad.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to think what else summer. Fishing.
Did you do a lot of fishing as a kid?
Well, we had like we would take fishing trips or these trips with like Parks and Rec department.
Oh, okay.
Like you would sign up at the beginning of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be like you'd drive in. So sometimes on weekends we'd go fishing with my dad sometimes. And then other times it would be we'd go to Parks and Rec. So we'd have to go with my dad into Brookings. He'd drop us off at the beginning of the day and then pick us up at the end of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep him busy, keep him out of trouble.
Yeah. But it was interesting because, like, yeah, you had to get, like, a packed lunch.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like, a solid, like, 4 to 5 hours, like, fishing, like, load up a van, take it out to a random lake.
Yeah.
Let all the kids, set up on the shore. There'd be, like, an adult watching everyone type of thing.
I feel like that's not a thing anymore because the liability is humongous, right?
I mean, maybe, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know really if they do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my aunt retired from the Parks and Rec department.
Oh, that's right. Your aunt was worked for the Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to find out because, having a bunch of little kids, take them in a van to a remote area and play around a lake doesn't sound super safe.
But yeah, I mean, right, you got to remember again, at this time, Brookings was like 20,000 people.
That's huge.
25,000 max, right? Like, so it's like, I understand it's bigger where you grew up, right?
Everything's bigger than where I grew up.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's still not that big.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's still very, everybody knows everybody-ish. Yeah, not everybody knows everybody, but it's like enough of a small town vibe,
Yeah.
And there's trust in the Parks and Rec volunteers probably at that time.
True.
But I specifically remember, like, so we would come back from fishing and we would hang out, like, they would, like, close up the gym area of the Parks and Rec building. It was like a big gym.
Okay.
And then, like, I remember the downstairs being, like, scary, like the bathrooms were down there, I think.
Oh, yeah.
One of those. And it was like these big steps to get up into the building, and then like they had some outcroppings, and so we'd all just like hang out like up on the outcroppings because you didn't want to fall off, like they were decently far off the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, so there was that. I know when we went through Brookings, they have like a like a kid science museum. There's all kinds of stuff now. I feel like activity wise.
Yeah.
We'd go to the pool. The pool had a big park next to it.
Oh, fun.
But it was interesting because it was like it's a big wooded area, but there's just a very small playground area on one side, and then there's like an elementary school like a block and a half away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of connected,
Okay.
and so you could go play at that other playground too.
Mm.
Um, but it's like you generally just stay around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And part of that was like you get like $1 to spend on snacks
Hell
because
yeah.
they always have a break
Mm-hmm.
at like 3.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say like they made you get out at like 3.
Okay.
And so yeah, there'd be like a big rush on the snack concession stand. Or we'd get out and when we got a little older, we'd get out and we'd cross the main street that was right by the pool,
Mm-hmm.
and there was like a gas station and Zesto
Mm.
ice cream store was over there.
Okay.
So we'd go and do that sometimes too.
Before we get into it, I have one more question about candy as a kid, like treats as a kid.
Okay.
Did you guys have penny candy?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
remember penny candy?
Yeah.
That stuff was so good. Like the Swedish fish, like the little like raspberries, gummy bears, whatever. You could just get one for a penny.
What? No.
What?
So it sounds like you're talking about bulk candy.
Okay, penny candy in my town was stores would buy bulk candy and open them up, and you could buy them for like a penny a piece.
Oh, see, when you say penny candy, like at our gas station,
Yeah.
the bottom row
Yeah.
was penny candy, and it was all like individually wrapped.
Oh, okay. Mine
but
was
it was
not.
like, yeah, so it'd be like a single Tootsie Roll.
Okay.
It'd be like a single piece of hard candy. It would be
Something along those lines, like individually wrapped, like a Jolly Rancher or something, you know?
Jolly Ranchers, exactly. Individually wrapped Jolly Rancher.
Okay.
Yeah. Your next step up was like 5 cents, 10 cents, and it was like lemon heads, the little boxes of lemon heads
Ooh,
and
those are good, and
jawbreakers.
cherry heads, and like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, cherry heads. The old Boston baked beans.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Do you remember those?
I do.
I was like, who in the world buys these things?
I don't think I've ever tried them, but I remember
Yeah.
I also was like, ew, like a baked bean? Gross. Like,
Yeah.
why would I want a candy version of a baked bean? I don't even like baked beans by themselves as baked beans, really.
Yeah, I know, right? Like it's
Yeah.
you're like, okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was super unsanitary because it was literally like boxes and little like scoops. So you'd like, 5 Swedish fish, 5 of the sour berry gummies,
Yeah.
And then they had the 5-cent ones, which were like the strawberry puffs. Like, do you remember
Okay.
those? And the peach
Yeah.
rings and things
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were 5
more
cents.
individually.
Mm-hmm.
5 cents individually?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem like that good of a deal.
It was when I was a kid.
I mean, I'd be going on the Swedish fish.
I mean, I was a
like,
fat ass, so I would get the most for my money as opposed to like spending more on high dollar items. I would go for the bulk candy, like as much as I could get for my money. So I would go for the penny candies because you got more.
You weren't a fat ass as a kid.
I was chubby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked candy. And I
Yeah.
still fucking do.
Yeah, so penny candy, I'm trying to think what else. Like,
Laffy Taffies. Ooh.
Laffy Taffies, yep.
I still to this day love the like grape Laffy Taffies, the big ones, like the big long ones, you
Yeah.
know? And they used to have like a cherry one that had like these sugar crystals, these colored crystals
Yeah.
on top. Oh my God. And then watermelon one that had like the watermelon seeds in it. Did you
Yeah.
ever? Yes.
Yep.
There's like, keep seeing candy stores on TikTok that are like, you can get all these weird off the wall, like not expired, but like discontinued items.
Okay.
I want to go on there and see if I can get those. I love a Laffy. My mouth is watering just thinking about a Laffy Taffy. Because they're so, like, the grape one's so, like, not sour, but it's tangy, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't they called tangy taffies, like the big ones?
Maybe. I think they definitely had a different name for the
I-
ones with the crystals and the watermelon seed one.
I think they're called tangy taffies. I'm going to have to look it up. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Was it the Tootsie Pops?
Ooh, yeah.
So somebody brought in one of those, the Tootsie Pops, and somebody opened it up and was like, oh, I get a free one.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, and one of the younger guys, newer guys was like, what? He's like, what? And we're like, yeah, if you open your Tootsie Tootsie Roll Pop,
and you see a certain symbol.
you have, it's the Native American shooting a
Shooting
bow and arrow at a star.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did
It
you
was
know
like you would turn it in, you would get a free Tootsie Roll Pop.
Tootsie Roll has said that was not a thing. They say it's like the Mandela effect, but I'm like, I distinctly remember taking in wrappers and getting free ones.
Yeah.
So it's
Same.
like, I think that like Tootsie Pop didn't authorize that, but I think a lot of little stores did. Because I remember the corner store where we used to go get like candy and like the place that had the Amazing Joes that they do, I found like here similar ones. They would always, the corner store would always give, you know, if you took in a wrapper, you got a free one.
Our corner store 100% did that.
Yeah, ours did too. But I remember somebody was talking about they're like, do you remember getting a free candy? You didn't. And it's like, bitch, yes, I did. You don't know my fucking life. I did get free suckers. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bitch. You don't know my life. Quit saying I didn't do something. I 100% remember doing that.
100%. 100% got free suckers for the stars.
Any free candy as a kid, I remember.
Yeah. Don't tell me I didn't get free candy when I know damn well sure I got free candy.
Any chance I got some free candy.
Yeah. But the trick was like, so you could kind of look like if they were on the front. Mm-hmm. And then I can't remember if the other deal was like it had to be the whole thing. It couldn't be like a half.
Yeah, you had to have like the whole symbol.
Whole image or, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely was like, which one looks like it's where, can I see one right up, you know, straight up? Can I see one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the other, when we were talking about free stuff.
Remember the free pops, if you could win a free pop?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Do you remember, in like the 90s, 20-ounce bottles, the plastic bottles?
Yep. You could get a free one.
It was like, you'd crack the lid, you didn't have to punch in a code, you didn't have to do anything. It was like, either one a 20-ounce, either one in a free 20-ounce pop, or it was like, try again.
Yep. I 100% remember that. I saw something the other day that was like, do you remember when you could win a buy one, get one free? And I'm like, bitch, I remember when you could win one for free. You didn't have to buy another one. You could just win. Yeah. Those were the good old days.
So here's the thing. I worked in a gas station in summer of 99. You can hold those up to us at a certain angle.
Oh, Adam's Life of Crime. Here it is where it started.
Yeah. Little mini confession. You were buying pops at the store I worked at.
You weren't getting the free ones because he was already stealing them.
I wasn't stealing all of them. But what I would do is I would definitely, like, if I wanted a pop that day, I would scour. Like, I'd have my cap with my free one. And I would, if the store was dead, I would look, pull them out.
Yep.
And find me a free one. Crack it.
Oh, look at that. I won again. I'm so lucky.
Yeah. There was almost always like some dead period in my shift.
Yeah.
To where I would go and I'd like look through like the first like so many.
Yeah.
You know? So sometimes I'd have to cash it in and get a non-winner.
Yeah.
But then I basically like, I wouldn't get another pop until it was a winner or something like that, you know? But yeah.
Hedge bets.
Yeah. Both Mountain Dew and Coke. Both Mountain Dew, Pepsi, Coke, all of them. You could see, if you held it up to the light and at a certain angle, there's like it was like the lip of the hard plastic. So like between the liquid and between the lip of the hard plastic, there's like the slimmest little band that like, when you hold it at a certain angle, it gave you could see part of
like a free or something.
You could see the wording, and if you knew what words to look for,
you could see it.
You could see it.
Look at you. I am shocked that you did something naughty because you're such a goody two shoe. No, just kidding.
I'm like, that's naughty. I got caught like summer between 4th and 5th grade, or between 3rd and 4th grade. I think it was 4th and 5th grade. It was one of those summers.
Okay.
I was grounded 2/3 of that summer. 2 full months out of 3 months of summer vacation. I was grounded for a variety of things. One of which was shoplifting at the corner of a convenience store. Baseball cards. We were stealing baseball or football cards or something.
Were your brothers doing it too?
I talked a friend. It was not my brothers. I talked a friend into, like, I don't know. We were like we were playing that day, and then it was like, I don't know if like somebody. He was telling me that somebody had shoplifted something from the store.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I bet we could do it, you know? Like, being the clever kid I was, right? I was like, I bet we could do it.
Spoiler alert, if you got grounded, you weren't that clever. Because that means you most likely got caught.
So we got caught on the second attempt because it worked. And being kids, we pushed our fucking boundaries. So
absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, so it was like, we went to the store, cased it out, like, would it work?
Jesus Christ.
My friend bought, like, a piece of candy, and then while he was buying his piece of candy, I was looking at the baseball cards. Because the baseball cards were right in front of the shopkeeper. We went back a little time later, went back. He bought another, like, penny candy, 5-cent candy. I shoplifted a pack of cards.
Oh my God.
We left, like, cracked the pack of cards or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, for whatever reason, was like, I don't know if we were like, each of us need a pack of cards, or we were like, that was pretty easy, like, let's go do it again.
You got penisy.
Very, very, very arrogant. Yes. Cocky.
Penisy.
Yeah. So we went back again. They didn't catch us in the act. But we didn't go far enough away to crack the packs. Like, we went, like, around the corner into, like, an alley.
Okay.
And they came around and busted us there and called our parents. And the best, not the best part, the worst part. The worst part was, I was such a good kid.
Yeah.
My mom blamed my friend for being the bad influence.
Oh my God.
When it was like 99% my idea. Poor Jason Van Meveren. Like, in my mom's eyes, he was now a bad kid because he had corrupted me into shoplifting.
He disturbed my little boy.
Yeah, and it was not his fault. Like,
no.
He went along with it. I'm pretty sure I talked him into it.
It's so funny to think of you as the bad influence because you're such a good guy. I mean, but you're a kid. Everybody does stupid stuff when they're kids.
I'm a kid, stupid stuff. And like I said, you know, around that age, like, I'd been in school for a few years, hearing, "Oh, you're so smart, right?" Like, I mean, it's like,
let's test that theory,
right?
Let's see how smart I really am.
And like I said, we didn't get caught in the act.
I'm glad that
we got caught afterwards.
I'm glad that you decided to use your powers for good and not evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm glad I didn't become an evil mad scientist.
An evil genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
are we gonna?
Yeah. So
I'm wondering how this ties in.
It doesn't. It was
is our topic today an evil mad genius or a summertime killer?
Nope. It's part 2 of our last episode. Remember?
Oh Lord.
So
it's been a week.
Yeah. It has been. So just a heads up, this is a part 2. So if you haven't listened to part 1, you're going to want to hit pause and go back to last week's episode. Otherwise, this may be a little disjointed. So we're jumping back into our coverage of the big old twat bag named Darren Dee O'Neall. He assaulted multiple women in the Pacific Northwest and is suspected of many more attacks throughout the country and even possibly Germany. We talked about last week. So just a quick recap. So Darren O'Neall, in January of 1987, he violently attacked and raped a 14-year-old girl in Portland, Oregon.
Yep.
And then in March of 1987, he murdered Robin Smith. So last week we left off with the discovery of Robin Smith's remains.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump right in. So police were eventually able to confirm Robin's identity, and they sadly learned that her death was a violent one. A hammer found nearby was suspected to be the murder weapon. After the discovery of Robin's remains, the arrest warrant for Darren O'Neall was upgraded from evading justice to first-degree murder.
Yeah, then was this the one that like they found the car and it had like blood and
Yep.
teeth or something in it
Yep,
too?
had blood and other human um
Parts,
stuff in there.
hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to back up a little bit to about a month before Robin's remains were found. So after she had gone missing, but before she was found, it's April 24th, 1987, and we are up in Bellingham, Washington. So Bellingham is near the Canadian border.
Okay.
It's a college town. Western Washington University.
Okay.
There's actually several, but Western Washington is the
The main one.
the big one.
Okay.
Yeah. So Western Washington University is up there. Like I said, it's April 24th, 1987. We're up in Bellingham, which is near the Canadian border, between Washington and Canada. Cascadia, Canada.
Oh, okay. I was like, how? What? Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada. It's here that Darren is living under the alias Mike Johnson, and he is living at a homeless shelter called the Lighthouse Mission. And he had also just started working as a bartender at a restaurant called La Paloma, which was near the McDonald's Beauty School. It was at this restaurant that he would meet his next victim, a student at the beauty school named Wendy Aughe. I think it's Aughe. It's Aughe. I apologize if I'm not saying that correctly.
Okay.
That's what it looks like to me. That's what I've been calling it in my head when I'm writing, so that's
Okay.
what I'm going to go with.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about Wendy. Now, I had a hard time finding a ton of information about her other than her disappearance.
Okay.
I do know she was born on February 15th, 1958, so she was 29, at the time of her disappearance. She was also a mother. I saw 2 children, but I also saw just a daughter. So I'm not 100% sure. I know she did have a child for sure, but a lot of things said 2 children. Some other things said 1, so
Yeah.
she was a mom.
Yeah, if we don't go into the specifics of the kids, just
Yeah, I'm not talking about the
mom.
kids. We do know that she was a mom, like I said, and she was attending beauty school, but I'm not sure if she was previously married or, I know she was single, so she wasn't in a relationship at the time that she met Mike, aka Darren.
Okay.
I will say that most of the sources were immediately worried because she was not the type to take off or leave without her kids.
Yeah.
She's just not that kind of mom.
Responsible mom.
Yes.
Okay.
So on the afternoon of April 24th, Wendy met Darren, aka Mike Johnson, at the La Paloma where he was working, as she had gone there to grab some lunch while on a break from her beauty school classes. After chatting with him a bit, they actually made plans to have dinner that evening. So Wendy told her classmates about the date and Mike. They had their dinner date at La Paloma, which I'm assuming it had to have really good food because they went back twice. Or
he's just such a cheap fucking date that he takes
I can get it
back
for
to his
free.
work.
Yeah.
Get a discount.
Yep.
If I'm her, I'm like, it's totally one of those. You took me back to the same place, like where I was already at. It's like the only worst thing is if she worked there, and then on your date you bring her back to where she works. Right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of like on a sitcom where that happens.
Yeah.
This is like the next worst thing.
Listen, though. To me, La Paloma sounds like a Mexican restaurant. I would absolutely eat Mexican lunch and Mexican dinner on the same day.
Fair.
That's what I'm saying.
Fair.
Chips and salsa, then you get something different for dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho.
Okay.
After their dinner, they were both seen leaving the restaurant very early on the morning of the 25th. So they were out late. So
okay. So they shut it down.
They shut it down.
And it was a bar because he was a bartender too.
Yeah, he was a bartender. So I'm assuming he worked in the bar. I'm assuming it's a Mexican restaurant because La Paloma sounds like a Mexican restaurant to me.
Okay. Yeah.
After that, there were no other sightings of Wendy. After she failed to pick up her daughter from the babysitter, her friends and family became really, really worried, and she was officially reported missing on April 28th, 1987. Now, like we said earlier, last week, she's never been found. She's still missing. Like, they have never
Oh,
found her body. So just FYI. But there is some resolution to this one, so.
okay. I was gonna say this piece of shit never like copped to it, never told them where they could find remains or anything.
Oh,
That happens sometimes, right? So,
yeah. And I will tell you,
okay.
when we get into it, he's
Yeah.
a dick.
Yeah.
So investigators started looking into Mike Johnson because, they talked to her classmates, they got the name, and they actually found out that the day after his date with Wendy, Mike Darren, had finished his shift at the restaurant, stole all the money from the cash register, along with some booze, and never returned.
Surprise, surprise.
Shocker. The restaurant wasn't
So he went to work the next day after the.
Well, he either went into
Okay.
work,
Went into work.
went into work. I don't know if he actually went like for his shift.
Yeah.
But he did steal.
Okay.
Yeah. So the restaurant wasn't able to provide much info on Darren because they didn't actually have an application. They just had his info written down on like a placemat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah, the 80s.
Right. Background check. Whatever.
You can work and you have hands, that's fine. You
Right.
can use you.
You're hired.
Yeah. And as we know, he used a fake name, and I can only assume all the other information he gave them was fake.
Right. Probably.
Yeah. So police, performed a search of Wendy's home to try to find any sign or any evidence as to where she may have gone. It was here they found signs of a struggle, and they found what they described. Many of the sites I read described it as pools of dried blood,
Ooh.
blood spatters, and a semen stain. From this evidence, police believe that Wendy was sexually assaulted prior to being killed. And while there was no sight of Wendy, there were sightings of her 1972 Ford Torino and Darren. So this guy is a dick. He constantly steals people's cars, too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
fucker.
He's like full on drifter, like using names, stealing people's cars, stealing money where he can.
Mm-hmm.
So the kid was at the babysitter's, not at their place.
Yeah. I saw that it was like her grandmother, godmother, baby. Somebody was watching the kid outside of the home.
Yeah.
So on April 26th, the Border Patrol in Oroville, Washington, recorded her vehicle crossing back into the U.S. from Canada. Darren was driving, and he was the only person visible in the photo. The car was found in Eugene, Oregon later that day, but Darren had disappeared. While police were unable to locate Darren, they did find a fingerprint from a burger box that he left in the car. So not only did he steal the car, he was leaving his fucking trash in there. Which pisses me off so bad. This guy's just a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So the print, along with witness sightings, allowed police to figure out that Mike was actually Darren O'Neall. So people had seen him. They kind of matched up like, hey, this Mike Johnson doesn't exist. It's Darren O'Neall. Because he'd already, like we said before, he was on police's radar for other crimes that he had committed throughout his life.
Yeah. Can you remind me of the timeline, maybe? Like, so this is a few months before the remains are found.
This is just a month before the remains were found.
Okay, but how long after Robin went missing?
So Robin went missing in March. Wendy went missing in April.
Oh, okay.
So it's like January was the rape.
Yeah.
A sexual assault. March was Robin went missing. April, Wendy went missing. May, Robin's remains were found.
So this was just like the worst New Year's resolution ever?
Apparently, he went on a fucking spree.
Starting in January,
yeah. But I think there are other crimes, and we'll talk about some of the other ones, but, like that he's suspected in, but.
Yeah.
So it's so funny because like I literally just went over the timeline. So from January to April of 1987, Darren had viciously attacked and raped a 14-year-old girl in Portland, murdered Robin and Wendy, and then he essentially disappeared. Police started piecing together the different aliases used by Darren, tying them to Louis L'Amour characters. They actually reached out to the author to try to like see if he could help, but he'd never heard from the guy. Like he's like, I can't give you anything, basically.
Yeah, they assume some kind of like super fan that wrote some deranged letter
Yeah.
that maybe might be memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But sadly nothing. After leaving the Pacific Northwest, Darren started going by the alias John Mayu. I want to say is how you say it. Or Mayo.
Mayhew?
It's like Mayeux. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mayu is what we're going
Sure.
with.
Yeah. Yeah.
As he was now a wanted fugitive, he was spotted across the country and he was added to the FBI's 10 most wanted list on June 25th, 1987. So about a month after Robin's remains were found.
Okay.
So while Darren was on the run, Edna Smith, Robin's mom, was plastering his face all over the Pacific Northwest in an attempt to help get him apprehended.
Yeah.
By this time, Darren was moving through the Midwest, meeting a woman in Tennessee. Eventually, he would steal her car and ended up in Lakeland, Florida.
Oh, wow. That's like corner to corner.
All over the fucking place.
Yeah.
Now, here's where we get a little crazy because I'm going to tell you about his capture. Because he does get captured.
Okay.
Now, it would be in Lakeland, Florida. Florida man. That he would be arrested. He was pulled over for a routine traffic stop, but attempted to evade the police and led them on a chase. He ended up crashing his car into a curb and fled on foot. Now, I've crashed our car into the curb. I mean, not crash, but I hit the curb a few times lately. So, I get it.
Whoa.
I get hitting a curb, not what he did. He crashed into the curb, so he ended up fleeing on foot.
Yeah.
After a short chase, police caught Darren and he was arrested.
Yeah.
So then, in February of 1988, he was extradited to Louisiana. I'm assuming for the stolen car charges, because that's where he stole the car from the girl. And it would be a rookie officer in Louisiana that submitted his fingerprints because she thought he was using a fake ID, like a fake identity.
Okay.
She didn't think John Mayu was a real person.
Yeah.
So when he was arrested, he used the alias John Mayu, and it was this rookie officer submitted his prints to the State Bureau of Criminal Investigation because, like I said, she thought he was using a fake name.
Yeah.
And to me, I just have to say, it seems crazy that, like, checking prints wasn't a police standard even in 1987, right?
Oh.
Like, because he was in prison in Louisiana, or he was in prison in Florida. They had a FBI's most wanted fugitive on their hands, and they didn't know it. Like, I feel like I don't know.
It's computers. It's computers.
Well, I know, but how
computers weren't really a thing.
True. They use faxes and stuff. Like,
they started in the 80s. So in my mind, it's computers. So like the reason they didn't normally submit them is because there is no. You can't just upload it and like know it's not like we think of now where
it's not an instantaneous like, oh, that's a match.
Yeah, where like it sits there and like looks at these photos and like checks it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
True.
There's no CSI. There's no NCIS in like the late 80s.
Yeah.
It's straight up like there's probably like legit like experts like at trials probably called in to be like, this fingerprint matches. You know what I mean? Like
true. That's true. It just seems so weird to me. Like I'm like, I know why people committed so many crimes back in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s because they could get away with them, you know? You could just kind of slip through the cracks, use a good fake ID, and unless somebody questions it, you know? But I'm wondering, did they not do a background check on this guy? Like, unless he was really good at creating, like, a false history, you'd have to see, like, oh, yeah, this guy didn't show up anywhere until whatever. But again, that's also computers again, I'm thinking.
Yeah, and it really, like, if he gave false info, right, which he was giving fake names.
And he was good at it because he did constantly change his aliases.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, maybe check that it's a valid ID. Just, like, give a quick call to the issuing state. Be like, hey, yo, we got this person. Is this who that person really is? But
it made it sound like it was a woman officer, too.
It was.
So she was, like, creeped the fuck out by this guy and was like,
I could see.
This guy is way skeezy than just a stolen car.
Mm-hmm.
I bet there was some women's intuition right there.
Ooh, I didn't think about that, but I think you're probably right.
100% is what I believe. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess.
No, literally did not even occur to me, but I'm sure you're absolutely right. Like, she's probably like, this dude he gave major creeper vibes.
Yeah.
Because he was a major creeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, luckily she did that because it was then discovered that John Mayu was actually Darren O'Neall and was wanted for murder, rape, all the things. And he was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list at the time.
Yeah.
Now, it took up a bit of a fight, and a lot of the sources I saw said that Edna Smith kind of like led this fight to bring Darren to Washington. So apparently, Louisiana wanted to try him first for the vehicle theft, but eventually he was sent back to Washington to stand trial for murder.
Yeah.
Of Robin. And
I wondered how that would work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess, ultimately it's like, what does Louisiana get for trying him first?
I question that. Like, it's like, I mean, he's got bigger, essentially, like, he's a bigger fish to fry. Like, you're going to get your 2 cents in that, like, oh, we tried him for vehicle theft, but that's a drop in the bucket compared to what else he did, right?
Yeah, I mean, they clearly shouldn't let him on bail, considering his history of, like, fake names
and
stealing cars.
Being able to slip by, yeah, for sure.
And he ran from police, so clearly that should be there. But yeah, it's like, I mean, stolen car charges, Grand Theft Auto, if you will. Grand Theft Auto definitely does not, like, probably comes with years in jail, but it's not murder, right? Like, murder in the first degree is always like number one charge, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. It was weird, but Edna won. Like, she's like, nope. Like, she helped bring him to Washington so he could get tried for murder in January of 1989. He ended up taking a plea deal. So Darren took a plea deal for the murder of Robin Smith and was sentenced to almost 28 years with possibility of parole after 18 years. So after the trial, after the trial in Washington, Darren was then sent to Oregon to be tried for the kidnapping and rape of the 14-year-old girl in Portland. After being tried and convicted in 1990, Darren received a 135-year sentence. This sentence was to be served concurrently with the murder sentence that he had received in Washington.
Okay.
So it seems strange that he would receive more time for the rape than a murder, but my suspicion is that Robin's family and the prosecutors knew he would be locked up for life, so they were willing to accept a lighter sentence on the murder charge as part of the plea deal just to kind of get their closure.
Yeah.
That's just my assumption, my personal thought. Like, they knew that he had other charges coming up and pending, and, like, I'm sure, the prosecutors here, the attorneys here talked to the attorneys that they knew this next trial was coming up. They kind of talked and were like, we're going to go after, like, the maximum sentence or whatever.
They might have got him with, the fact that she's underage adds a lot of extra time.
Yeah.
And maybe they tapped him with, like, attempted murder, maybe because
there was the
kidnapping. If he already pleaded to the other one, they were like, look at this guy, he murdered somebody up there, he was probably going to murder her and somehow just didn't,
Yeah. Well, there was a plethora of charges included with that one.
Yeah.
With the 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
So again, I think they probably were in communication. They're like, you know what? If you want your closure, if you don't want to have to go through a trial to testify, things like that, you can take the plea deal because he's not getting out anytime soon.
Yeah.
So he was eligible. He would be eligible for parole with this 135-year sentence in 2033, I think it would be the first time he would be up for parole. And when I say, like, it seems weird that he got a longer sentence for, like, raping and kidnapping this girl, I in no way mean that she did not endure anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't mean that. It's just, to me, like, taking a life seems like it should be, like, life without parole. I also think this, like, raping and kidnapping a 14-year-old should be life without parole, without the chance of parole.
Yeah.
So,
and had they not tied him to the gal from Bellingham? I'm blanking on her name already.
Wendy.
Wendy Aughe, that's right.
Yeah. So, they also, like I said, my next line in here is now, they also suspected Darren and Wendy's disappearance. But at the time, they weren't sure they had a murder case. So, in 1989, Darren was charged and convicted of stealing Wendy's car.
Okay.
Right? So they knew he stole her car. They suspected he had killed her, but they didn't have it. They didn't have a body. Yeah. They didn't have, like, a confirmed DNA match or anything like that from the blood found at the semen stain or anything like that.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be until 2015 that the case would get a major breakthrough. In 2015, the Washington State Patrol Crime Lab tested the evidence that had been collected by the original investigators. they had done a great job of collecting, like we've talked before, all of these
Yeah.
DNA cases that get broken up or broken open are due to original investigators doing such a good job when they collect samples because they know someday they could be useful even if they weren't at the time.
Yeah.
They tested the semen sample and they were able to create a DNA profile on the attacker. It would take 5 years before the profile would find a match using CODIS, which is the DNA database system that they use. And it identified Darren as a match. In 2021, investigators took a cheek swab and confirmed that the DNA was a positive match for the DNA found at Wendy's home.
Okay.
So, because he was in prison,
Yeah.
be like, yo, bitch, we're getting your cheek swab. Like, get the
Yep.
fuck over here. You don't have any fucking
There's a
rights.
warrant.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that he doesn't have any rights.
I know, but
they definitely had a warrant to get a cheek swab.
Yeah. And I'm sure he probably made it harder because it sounds like he was just a massive douchebag when it came to his crime. So, I'm assuming the delay was just due to like the massive backlog of DNA that was being tested at the time. There's so many cold cases and there's only so many people that work on cold cases that you can, there's only so many people that can test this DNA. Then there's a huge amount of like DNA waiting to be tested for cold cases. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it seems like I kept reading. I'm like, those numbers don't sound right. Like they found the DNA profile in 2015 and they didn't match it until 2021. And then it wouldn't be until March 1st of 2023 that Darren was extradited to Whatcom County and placed in the Whatcom County Jail where he is currently awaiting trial. So, at the time of his extradition, Darren was serving his 1990 sentence for the rape and kidnapping charges at the Two Rivers Correctional Institution in Umatilla, Oregon. Which, Umatilla is near where the haunted hotel, Hot Lakes Hotel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Throwback.
Yeah. Throwback to
previous...
not that old of a podcast.
No, it was just a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Darren was charged with the second degree murder of Wendy Aughe. So we will update you guys as this case goes to trial and he's sentenced. Like we said, there still isn't a body, so Wendy's never been found. But I think they're pretty certain that that she's.
Well, they have the DNA at the site where clearly something happened.
Yeah.
And she's never been found alive.
Yeah. And it sounds like the crime scene was
dead.
pretty bloody, so.
Yeah. So it's. And knowing this guy, I mean, it's just, it's.
So,
the real question is, is he going to draw a trial because there is no body, or is he going to plead to it?
I'm assuming he's. I don't know. I could see. I mean, he's got 10 more years before he's eligible for parole, right? Like at this point, I think he should just. I think he's delusional if he thinks he's ever going to be getting out because they have his DNA evidence at another potential crime scene, right?
Okay.
So.
I thought he got a lot of years in.
Well, he did, but he did, but he's eligible for parole after like so many years. So.
Yeah, I thought that for the Washington one, but not the Oregon one.
No, so
oh, okay.
It was eligible for parole. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It said he could possibly be paroled in 2033.
Okay. So yeah, if you're seeing something like that, then yeah. Okay. Then Louisiana gets him for their stolen car.
Yeah, get him to keep this guy in fucking prison. So when investigators went to like question him in Louisiana before they were extraditing him, he would not say a fucking word to the investigators about any of the rape, the disappearances, anything.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, he's never said anything. So it's like this dickhead can't even give like the whereabouts of the remains. So maybe he'll cop another plea deal. Like maybe they'll be like, hey, you know what? We'll just add 15 years to your sentence. Please just tell us where our daughter is, Right. So we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see where this one goes because it was literally just like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a kid too, right? So there's a kid from the 80s that's now an adult.
Mm-hmm.
From Wendy Aughe's kid.
Yes, for sure.
So
she was at the like arraignment, I think, but she declined. She didn't talk at all, which I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to talk about it either, but
yeah.
I think she'd probably, if it was me, I'd want to know, like, some people really need that valid, or that, just that confirmation that, yeah, she did pass. It's not that she just
Yeah,
took
it's
off
not that
from
she
her
took
life,
off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, he was a dick. Like, he wouldn't say anything. So I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm genuinely curious to see if he does try to get
Hmm.
a plea to, like, give the location of her body.
Okay.
So we'll keep you guys updated. But so, like I said previously, we just covered 3 of the cases, like the confirmed cases of his. He was a suspect in several other sexual crimes, along with the disappearance and murder of a 22-year-old woman named Leah Elizabeth Subert. Um,
Okay.
he has, it's not confirmed, but police do suspect that he is responsible for this murder as well. Just a quick, I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of this one. So Leah was heading to Boise, Idaho from um, Twin Falls, Idaho,
Yeah. I mean,
I think.
yeah.
On June 7th, 1987, to pick up her fiance from the airport. She apparently had some car trouble while heading to the airport and called a friend from a truck stop to pick her up. After that call, she would never be seen alive again or
Mm.
heard from again. So, about a week later, on June 13th, 1987, her naked body was found at the bottom of an embankment near La Grande, Oregon. She
Mm.
had died from strangulation, and it's assumed sexual assault was part of the crime as well, since she was found nude.
Yeah.
He is a suspect in this murder, along with, we know he was charged with the sexual assaults in Colorado Springs when he was there, but the woman disappeared. So then, he was eventually, the case was dismissed. So generally, I don't like to talk too much about the person that commits these crimes. But one of the things that's always fascinated me about true crime, and, like, especially serial killers, is why do they do what they do, right? I think that's a lot of people's question. Like, how can a
Yeah.
person go on to do the things that they do like this?
Yeah.
So I did some digging because I was curious if there was anything in Darren's history that could give some insight into why he became such a monster. But honestly, I wasn't able to find much. He was born on February 26, 1960, and he was the third of 4 kids. So he had 2 older brothers and then a younger sister. He lived in Colorado Springs for some time, but his father was in the army, so they moved around quite a bit.
Mm.
Um, he lived, I think it was Fort Polk in Virginia.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Or Polk might be in Louisiana. It's in the South somewhere for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. He and he also lived in Germany for a time,
Yeah.
So Darren married his high school sweetheart and had a son in 1981. He then had a second son with what most articles described as a common law wife, even though he was technically still married to his high school sweetheart.
Mm.
I do have names, but I don't feel like naming
Yeah.
them.
We don't need to.
I'm sure they don't want to be named, so you can find it if you're really curious. But I did see that his first son was adopted and raised by Darren's parents. Um, so I'm not sure why the mom didn't have him. I didn't really know what the situation was, but that's what it was. So
Because
Darren,
they murdered her. She's missing.
seriously, Darren himself joined the army and was stationed for a time in Germany. Many of the articles I saw said that Darren was suspected of sexual crimes while living in Germany, both with his parents and with his own time in the army. And
So
there
his
was,
parents would be as like a teenager.
when he
or
was like a
something?
teenager, younger person, yeah.
Okay.
So nothing I read gave much in the way of the cause for Darren to become what he did. I think he just was born evil, or had, like, the evil gene that for some reason blossomed, and yeah. So that is our condensed version of the awful crimes committed by Darren O'Neall and the lives and innocence that he took. Adam, do you have any thoughts?
I had wondered about like the drifter
Mm-hmm.
aspect, but hearing that he was like his dad was in the military
Yeah.
and they moved around a lot, I could see where he would have learned or picked up the like, yeah, changing your name. People
Mm-hmm.
tend to believe you when you give them a name and stay with that name. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
A lot of things can be believed with if it's given with confidence.
Yeah.
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 It
Yeah.
did.
If people aren't checking.
Yeah.
You know?
Quite a few articles did say that, like, police, when they did, kind of a profile on him, they did believe that his upbringing of being a military kid did contribute to his drifter behavior as an adult.
Yeah.
Or his drifter lifestyle, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying most military people do that. I'm just saying I'm connecting those dots of moving around.
Look at you being a profiler. You picked up on that right away.
Yeah. Now, yeah, there's real no explanation for like the sexual assault. You're just
and it was violent. Like, he was so violent about it. Like,
yeah.
So I have to wonder, like, what? Again, it goes back to the fascination of like, why? What has to snap in your brain for you to be able to do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it just, a normal person does not have the capacity in my mind to commit such heinous acts repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in my mind it's like something happened.
I want to feel like something happened, but then there are cases where like
nothing
happened. It's just somebody being a fucking creep. Like, they just were born, they have no, like, is he a sociopath where he doesn't have like a conscience to tell him that that's not right? Does he just not care? Like, does he have anger towards women? Because how violent the acts were, it makes me feel like he had to have some anger towards women.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's real weird, and like you said, without diving too deep on somebody who's not talking.
Right. Well, and it's like he used so many aliases. How do we, like, do we even know who this guy really is? I mean, yeah, we know his real name is Darren Dee O'Neall, but like, he could have so many different lives that we just don't even know about because he was such a drifter and he used so many different aliases. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that one. When you mentioned the gal from Idaho, I was like, ooh, what name did he give her? But from the sounds of it, it wasn't anybody she knew. It was like she pulled over at a rest stop or a gas station because her car broke down and wasn't heard from.
Yeah.
Or was murdered. Right?
And I do want to say that one has not been officially tied to him, but police do suspect it was him. So it could have been a similar situation where he saw her, like maybe she was walking to like meet somebody and he grabbed her like he did with the 14-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah.
But by this time he had already killed, so it's like, okay, if you don't want to get caught, you got to kill your witnesses,
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, and by if he's on the FBI top or most wanted or whatever you want to call it, top 10, what? Yeah. I don't know.
America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, it's like I have to believe that they are looking at like open cases, cold cases.
Oh, for sure.
To see what fits the MO of like random acts of violence. I mean, now, are any of the victims tied? Are they like similar? So we're calling this guy a serial killer, right?
Yeah.
I think that was part of the last episode. Was like, what's the definition of a serial killer? So yeah, if we're calling this guy a serial killer, like, I mean, did the victims share any qualities? Did you have any information on that? Were they like?
I looked at pictures of both of them. Honestly, like, one was 22, one was 29, one was a mother, one was engaged. Like, now, Leo also had a fiance.
Okay.
And she was also 22 at the time of her murder.
Okay.
So those two have, share a few similarities, but if he just picked some random person off the street, that's, to me, just a coincidence. Now, I don't know if he just liked the look of her. I will say, like, I looked at pictures of both Robin and Wendy.
Yeah.
They both look small, like small build.
Well, I wondered with the 14-year-old, whether it's like younger gals who look younger than their age, maybe.
Could be. Yeah, they don't give any details about the 14-year-old. I'm assuming because she's a minor. And honestly, like, as long as she can keep her anonymity, I would want to do that if I were her too. Yeah. So, but yeah, they both were kind of small. Statured, they looked pretty thin. So maybe there was a certain body type he liked, but I don't know about Leah. You know what this case kind of reminded me of when I was researching it?
What?
Is it The Bone Collector with Angelina Jolie, where like Ethan Hawke like assumes different identities as he goes through? Like, he's a serial killer and he He's the serial killer
That's
that
right.
he's like hooking up with Angelina Jolie at some
Yeah.
point, and she's a cop, and
Yep.
he is like a chameleon basically. Like he just takes the identities of people he kills.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why, what it was about the reading this, but it totally like reminded me of that movie. They're not very similar, but the whole like using, stealing somebody's identity basically.
Yeah. I mean, he would steal her car.
Yeah. He stole a bunch of cars. Fucking prick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there were like petty thefts, things like that. Like he just had. He probably shoplifted baseball cards as a kid. Just kidding.
Don't make that connection.
I'm just kidding. No,
terrible.
I'm just kidding. I think he also has some like forgery. He just was like all around had no respect for law. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Which I wonder how he did in the military. I think he had a short stint in the military, from what I saw.
Probably wasn't all that reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe made it through like basic training, got assigned somewhere, and then was like, I'm out.
Not for me.
So him getting caught, right? So it was a traffic stop. And what, like, name didn't match or something, so they're gonna like arrest him, like, cause let me tell you, if you're a criminal and you're being pulled over for a traffic stop and you run, unless you get away,
red flags all over the place.
Not just red flags. If you run from a traffic stop and if they catch you, you're going to jail.
Right.
Like, without question, you're going to jail.
Fair.
So you either need to hope that you get away,
which he
didn't, or like, something about it already, like, he had a sense that like they were gonna arrest him anyway or something, or maybe he's just freaked out and panicked because maybe he hadn't been stopped in a while or something,
So I didn't see why he was pulled up, why they tried to pull him over.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming
they didn't have his prints.
No, and they didn't. I don't think that they knew it was a stolen car until after they got him. Like after they took him in for evading or attempting to evade arrest or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, dude, you probably would have gotten away with it if you just played it cool. You know what I mean? But I mean, thank God he didn't, because then it all snowballed and whatnot. But I think it was probably just a routine traffic stop. Like maybe he rolled through a stoplight or ran a red light or was speeding or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dummy.
Yeah, maybe he didn't have an ID for whatever name he wanted to give or whatnot.
Or he wasn't a stolen car. Maybe he thought they were pulling him over because it was a stolen car.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was the case. Not that I could find, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's just kind of like, it's like,
congratulations, you played yourself.
Well, as much as I hate being stopped for traffic stops, they play like a fairly big role in like random, like policing as a general, just like, when cops do traffic stops on like criminals who have other things that they might, I have an arrest, I know there's a warrant out, there's this, that, right? Like, you're gonna be so much jumpier and you're gonna run, and like I said, they're gonna catch you. Like, which this guy, like, I don't know, like, maybe he wouldn't have gotten caught,
Yeah.
I mean,
who knows how many more crimes he would have committed? I don't, because it sounds like he was like, he was like boom, boom, boom. So I think he was just, he'd gotten away with it a couple times. So I'm 100% sure he would have kept killing.
Yeah. He had like a serious problem, Maybe they only looked northwest. I mean, but if they caught him in like Alabama and he was definitely stealing cars in Louisiana, like, this dude is like everywhere.
They found him in Florida.
Florida, what did I say?
Alabama.
Sorry.
It's okay.
They're both in the South, but yes.
Florida.
You never once said Alabama.
No, it's okay. Well,
it was just Sweet Home.
Yeah.
Sweet Home, Alabama.
As always, thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and download our show, as well as leaving us a 5-star rating or a review on whatever platform you're listening on. All of these help us become more visible to more people, helps us grow our listeners, all the good stuff. So you can also help us out by sharing us with your friends, family, social media, all the things. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, which it's just Creepy Cascadia Pod. Also, check out our website, creepycascadiapod.com, or you can send us an email to admin@creepycascadiapod.com. If you have suggestions for show topics, things you guys want us to talk about, if you have your own ghost story, true crime story, if you've seen Bigfoot, please, please, please send us a story because I want to find him. So, all right. Well, we hope everybody has a great week, and we will see you guys back next week for a brand new episode. Bye.
Bye.